Do you ever feel like you're stuck in a rut? Like your life is just one long, never-ending valley of despair? Well, if so, today's video is for you because we're going to be telling the epic tale of Ehud, a man who went from being a lowly captive to becoming a legendary hero. So grab a snack, settle in, and get ready to be inspired. Once upon a time in the land of Canaan, there was a mighty warrior named Ehud, son of Gera, who led his people with wisdom and valor. But sadly, he also had a major flaw. He loved to party. And as a result, he made some pretty questionable decisions, like the time he decided to hire an assassin to kill his brother-in-law, King Eglon of Moab. After hiring the hitman, Ehud fled to Egypt, where he lived as a captive for a full 8 years. 8 years is a long time to be stuck in a dingy old prison. But all that changed when God had a change of heart and decided to have some mercy on Ehud. You see, God had been keeping an eye on Ehud even in his darkest days, watching him struggle and suffer as a captive. And finally, he decided it was time to swoop in and save the day. In Judges chapter 12 verse 11, it says, "And the Lord said to him, Return you now at this beginning of captivity, for I have sold you." That's right. God himself came to Ehud and told him it was time to go home. But here's the thing. Ehud wasn't just going to waltz back into Canaan and declare, "I'm back, baby." No, sir. He knew that after killing the king's brother-in-law, he'd made some powerful enemies and they would be out for revenge. So he decided to play a trick on them. First, he trimmed up his appearance, put on a new outfit, and packed a nice little sword. Then he went to the city gate and waited for his chance. Now, mind you, the city was still on high alert. They were expecting a full-on invasion, not a lone wolf assassin. So when Ehud approached the gate, they opened it right up to let him in. Once inside, he made his way to the king's palace and snuck in while everyone was sleeping. There, he found King Eglon sound asleep in his own bed. Ehud crept closer and closer to the king until he was within striking distance. Then in Judges chapter 12 verse 21, it says, "He spied upon him also and found the opportunity in his sleep to thrust his sword by the way of his harness into the hollow of his thighs and pulled it not a little way." Talk about a sneak attack. Ehud stabbed the king right in the gut and he didn't even wake up. Talk about a deep sleeper. But unfortunately, it gets even more gruesome from there. After giving the king the surprise of his life, Ehud didn't stick around to see how he liked it. Nope, he grabbed his sword and ran for his life. The guards followed close behind, but they couldn't catch up to him. He was too quick, too nimble. They ended up losing him somewhere between Haran and the wilderness. But back at the palace, King Eglon was having a bit of a tough time. You see, that sword that Ehud had used to stab him was no ordinary weapon. It was coated with the venom of a scorpion. And once it entered the king's body, things started to go really downhill fast. King Eglon didn't make it. He was dead before the day was over. And word spread like wildfire throughout the land. The king was dead, slain by the assassin Ehud. Now when Ehud heard this news, he wasn't exactly thrilled. Don't get me wrong, he was happy to be rid of the king, but he was worried about what would happen next. Would his people rise up and seek revenge on him? Would he become a wanted man once again? But as it turned out, the people weren't angry with him. They were grateful. You see, King Eglon had been a real piece of work, ruling over them with an iron fist. And when he died, it was like a weight had been lifted off their shoulders. From that day forward, Ehud became a hero to his people. He went from being a lowly captive to becoming a legendary warrior who had taken down a king. So what's the lesson here? Even when life knocks you down, God can lift you back up and all you need is faith. Alright, well, that's our story for today. If you enjoyed it, please smash that thumbs up button and leave us a comment below with your thoughts. We love hearing what you have to say. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss out on all the fun. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and above all, stay awesome.